The preparation for the last My Fairy Tale Ball was by far harder than any other speaking event I had done. At first, I couldn't put my finger on why that was, but then I really thought about the message. The Tale as Old as Time Ball would share the true story of God's beautiful creation fallen under the curse of sin and how Jesus redeemed us. We were sharing the gospel at its core, and the gospel changes lives. I started looking at preparing the ball no longer as a planner working on the details of this magnificent event, but as a frontline warrior preparing to fight to save lives. This event would be a battle for many souls to hear the truth and be set free. But the enemy, he likes his captives and felt very threatened. Though I didn't have to fear because I knew who was and is bigger and wins the victory. God did a big work in me, a lot of times through tears, to turn my focus solely on what mattered most as the day of the ball and the battle were approaching. There was a day I said, God, I just want to let it go. This is so hard. But as I asked God what to do when things weren't seeming to go smoothly and I didn't know where money and guests were going to come from, God let me hear a message from 2 Chronicles chapter 20. A battle was approaching, and as King Jehoshaphat didn't know what to do, he had everyone turn toward God and fast and pray. The king even professed, "We don't know what to do, but our eyes are on you, Lord." Later, God spoke through someone and said, "Stand firm your ground, for you will see the salvation of the Lord." And I was definitely praying for salvations. I can't even tell you how amazing it was that as I cried out to God and wanted to give up, I came across that live Facebook message from actually my pastor who I had when I was in youth. I laid in my bed watching that before I went to sleep and knew God had answered. I wasn't to give up, but to stand strong, and He would have the victory. Tomorrow would be a new day with a renewed focus. It was then that God showed me I needed to be praying more than I worked on other things. Prayer was the true work, and so we gathered some people and prayed and fasted as that day approached. Okay, it's kind of funny, you have to admit, that I now saw this beautiful ball as a battlefield. On the surface, it looked like an amazing event with gorgeous dresses, lots of yummy food, music, dancing, photos. It was all taking place at a mansion, not what you would picture for a battle. But in the heavenly realms, a battle was going to take place. Prisoners were going to be set free and hearts renewed. God's beautiful creation was going to be redeemed. And you know what? God put on my heart before the ball, and what I started telling our team was, if it all falls apart and nothing goes right, God is going to get all the glory. That's just something God just kept putting on my heart and mind. And let's be honest, we hate when things don't go as planned or how we envision them, but there is a much bigger picture going on. You might just see it as an atmosphere of school or a team or job or relationship, your family or home, whatever it is on the surface, but in the heavenly realm, there is a spiritual battle going on for you, your friends, your family. So we have to let God help adjust our mindset to look beyond the surface and get ready to put on our armor to fight the spiritual battle that's coming. I pray God reveals to you where you need that renewed understanding of what's going on beyond the surface, whether it be in your relationships, your family struggles, your plans not going as you hoped. There are bigger things going on, and what we need to do more than anything else is pray. Prayer is one of your most vital weapons to use against the enemy. Connect with your source of life. Run to God your Father. Confess you don't know what to do, but that your eyes are on Him. And trust and take courage in knowing, even if it all seems like it's falling apart, if nothing goes as planned, nothing goes right, God will get all the glory in your life. Well, with that truth God put in my heart and on my mind, I was prepared for things not going perfectly at the ball. Maybe the china wouldn't show, and oh, how I love that china. Maybe someone would be late or equipment wouldn't work. But no, it was when I got up to speak. I knew the message God had for me to share and was confident it was from Him. And as I started my speech, which was a bit of a theatrical and unique telling of the gospel story, all of a sudden I didn't have a thought in my head. Not one word. In my mind I said, God, what's going on? This is your message to these girls and guys. Nothing. It was like, is this really happening? And then I lifted my head and I had to say, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to step away and pray. I left the stage and went out of the large tent and took a deep breath and started seeking God. The audience prayed as well. And when I came back on stage, I had an unplanned conversation with the teens and their chaperones. I proceeded to share how I wasn't perfect, but how cool it was that God could use us. I talked about the importance of connecting to God as our source of everything we do. I'm not sure what all God had me to say, honestly, at that moment, but somehow I became more tangible and real to the girls, and not only did God really get their attention, but they knew it was all about what He had to say. A few other things didn't flow as perfectly during my part, but it was crazy and funny as I said, God, I didn't know it was me you were talking about when you said if nothing goes right. But I totally saw how God got so much more glory through it all. It was crazy. I wasn't even embarrassed at stepping away because I saw God use things going absolutely wrong for His plan to be perfectly right. Lives were changed and saved through God's work, and the victory was won. So as we ponder deeply the magnitude of what Jesus Christ did for us, I want you to know, in Him you get to have the victory. But remember what Jesus went through. His disciples were waiting for Him to be king and rule, yet the people He came to save wanted Him dead. This would have never been their plan. And as the great battle approached, Jesus prayed to God and asked, saying, Father, if you are willing, remove this cup from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done. Luke 22:42. As Jesus was approached by the soldiers who would carry Him away, I'm sure the disciples thought, everything is falling apart and everything is going wrong. On the surface, here was a man being wrongly accused, tortured, shamed, mocked, and even put to death. But in the heavenlies, there was a battle, a great battle being fought for you and me, a battle that would change everything for all of eternity, a battle over souls to set the prisoners free. Though it seemed everything was going absolutely wrong, but it was God's perfect plan to get the ultimate victory. Okay, I want to do a cool little thing with you before I go. If you will, grab a piece of paper and a pen and make a note. What I want you to do is look up 2 Chronicles 20, verse 15 and 17, and make a card with these edits to remind yourself. Start with the word listen, and then in place of all Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem and King Jehoshaphat, put your name. So listen, and then put your name. Thus says the Lord to you, do not fear or be dismayed because of this great, now it says multitude, because they were about to fight a battle, but insert the thing that's stressing you out, that thing you don't understand that's going wrong or how it's going to work out. Insert that. So, thus says the Lord to you, do not be feared or dismayed because of this great, whatever it is, for the battle is not yours but God's. And then go to verse 17. You need not fight in this battle. Station yourselves, stand and see the salvation of the Lord on your behalf. And then again it says, Judah and Jerusalem, so insert your name. So to make it personal. Do not fear or be dismayed. Tomorrow go out and face them, for the Lord is with you. And that's 2 Chronicles 20, 15, and 17, customized to a reminder for you. I love you all, and to God be all the glory.